Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, we will be covering your Tesla stock breaking news. Wow, there's some big news that you need to hear. There's also a lot of broader market news today in regards to China and Trump and tariffs, and that could be a big factor moving markets to start off tomorrow. In fact, Bitcoin is actually recovering a little bit, at least from the lows that you hit on October 17th at $103,665. Bitcoin is up notably in just the last couple of hours, again going from about 106,000 to almost 109,000 in just the last couple of hours on some of these headlines that we are going to cover in this video. So if Bitcoin is a leading kind of indicator to how markets could look to start off this trading week, it could be good. So we have a lot to cover in a short amount of time. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already, and check that link out down below in the description of today's episode. And with that said, let's get started. So as always, we're going to start with your biggest Tesla stock news today, but the broader market news is almost equally as important because yes, Tesla has a good setup. Yes, Tesla stock looks good, but if the markets crash, Tesla's going to crash. There's no other way to put it. You need to see to a certain degree the markets participating to get a breakout in Tesla, in which I think is coming. As I talked about in the last video, Tesla broke above the 20-day moving average. This blue line here, which every other time that has happened in the past, it has led to a very aggressive rally. But with that said, the first piece of big news today is this drone video captured by Joe Tetmeyer that shows the Cybercab actually on public roads around Giga Texas. Okay? Like operating by itself. So we're getting closer to mass production, to a moment of fully autonomous FSD, to a moment of no safety driver in the front seat of robotaxi rides. And that's when the scalability of robotaxi will explode. And that's when the growth of robotaxi will explode as well. Now, Elon Musk responded to a shareholder who does not agree with Tesla's pay package structure. And if there was a little bit of quote unquote bad news, I guess you could say it could be this. Elon says, quote, Tesla is worth more than all other automotive companies combined. Which of those CEOs would you like to run Tesla? It won't be me. Like, he's basically saying if the compensation package fails, he's not going to run Tesla. Now, good news is it's not going to fail. Okay. Something crazy like that would be a black swan event for Tesla. It is widely expected this thing is going to pass with flying colors. Okay, but if it doesn't, Elon's basically saying he's not going to be the guy running Tesla. Which, again, that is fair, right? You would not work for free. Would you wake up and go to your job every day, a job that you probably don't like that much, for free? No. Now, I think Elon likes working at Tesla. I think Elon likes what he does in all of his businesses. If not, he wouldn't do it. He's not financially constrained by any means. But still, you would not work for a company for free, and that's effectively what Elon has been doing for years now. So anyone that does not like this comment by Elon, put it into a little bit of perspective. Now, it was reported yesterday that one Tesla showroom in China delivered more than 100 vehicles in a single day, which for one showroom is impressive. Again, considering Wall Street has this narrative that Q4 is going to be some kind of disaster. In fact, we reported yesterday that wait times for the Model Y are now extended into December. It is October 19th. So there is quite a runway here of demand happening in China. And I personally think, again, as I've said for a long time on this channel, Q3 deliveries were going to be good. And I don't know if we necessarily beat that in Q4, but just based on what I've heard from people expecting a demand, slump for Tesla in Q4, Wall Street's expectations are probably like 350,000. That's probably 100,000 lower than the number we're actually going to get. Around 450,000 deliveries could be in store. Now, Tesla is not necessarily as, impacted by good or bad deliveries these days. Deliveries blew out expectations a little over a week ago. What happened? Nothing. Tesla stock fell. It did not react positively. Okay? There was a lot of buy the rumors, sell the news kind of situations that happened there. A lot of traders. The stock ran up heading into that. That's all fair. But I think good deliveries are good deliveries, and that will still be a positive catalyst for Tesla when we do get beat on deliveries. But it's going to be a lot less important. So estimates for deliveries are likely going to move up over the next 3 months, and that could impact Tesla in a positive way. Now, Tesla's trade prospects are also getting a lot more attention over on X. This account here, called Simple, says Tesla, best liquid setup in the market. The strength this has shown to those paying attention to the details is insane. Almost every time I see indices make a new low intraday, this name doesn't. Extremely telling, providing the market doesn't nuke. I believe this is going to close the year extremely strong. That is my view as well. It looks like Tesla is about to go through a rally. Again, the last time we got above the 20-day moving average was back here on September 4th. The stock was $335 per share. The stock proceeded to rally $140 per share once you got that ultimate break of the 20-day moving average. But it's not one of those things where you break the 20-day moving average and necessarily you just skyrocket immediately. Like we broke, again, back on September 3rd, September 4th, September 2nd, whatever day you technically want to, point it out there. And we kind of consolidated sideways for 4 days. And then we had the 6%, 7%, and 4% move that sent us up about $140. That really sent the stock into its next leg. Okay? Well, getting this close above the 20-day moving average to me looks like that next leg could be coming soon. Now, we know Tesla has earnings this week, and we talked about that in the last video. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in the next video later on tonight, coming out at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you guys are paying attention to the channel for that one. But effectively, I think Tesla's earnings don't matter. I don't think the revenue matters. The margins are going to move the algos. The algos are going to react based on margins and some of these numbers. But what's really going to drive Tesla is the earnings call, like it always is. That is the catalyst for Tesla. And I think with the earnings call, we're going to hear Optimus scaling next year and starting commercial, sales to some degree. I think we're going to hear potentially dozens of cities getting robotaxi. I think we're going to hear these very positive AI initiatives, and the stock is going to rally. Again, as I said in the prior video, it is now like in Elon's favor to get the stock to move higher. Do you think Elon would rather have the stock crash 20% or go up 20% from here before the shareholder meeting and vote on November 6th? Okay? He's going to want the stock to go up. He's going to want people to feel good heading into that shareholder meeting. And that's going to be a catalyst in and of itself. Okay? Probably with longer term, updates on the business, right? Probably a demonstration of Optimus and some other cool things are going to be happening November 6th. Elon's comp package in and of itself is a big catalyst if approved, which we're expecting that it will be approved very easily. And the investment into XAI, right? These are positive catalysts that are coming. But first, earnings this week is the big catalyst for Tesla stock. Specifically, again, what happens in the broader markets will be important. And we do have a lot of earnings as well, but Tesla's earnings are Wednesday in after hours. Now at 8 p.m., we're going to go over the whole earnings calendar. I'm going to let you guys know the important ones for markets, especially considering that, again, the government is shut down. So anything that gives us a little bit of an insight to how the economy is doing, how the consumer is doing, those are earnings that Wall Street is going to pay more and more attention to. Now, Tesla Archive on X says it feels like the launch date for Tesla's Cybercab is just around the corner. You can see in these images, again from Joe Tetmeyer, it looks like there's a couple different Cybercabs that are outside of Giga Texas that are covered up with tarps. So, there's definitely some kind of pilot, production taking place right now, probably trying to make sure the production lines are ready to go when it's time to produce this thing in real numbers. Now, this says here Tesla's supercharger network in Japan continues to expand. It says Tesla is steadily building the optimal conditions for increasing sales in Japan, which, Tesla does not have a lot of a presence in Japan, okay? So you got to get superchargers there to even really sell vehicles. Nobody wants to buy a Tesla in Japan if you can't charge it. That's one of the main reasons, even here where I live in Michigan, there's just not a lot of Teslas or electric vehicles in general out on the road. It's because charging infrastructure is really far and few between. Like, for me personally, I have to charge at home. Like, or I have to drive like 45 minutes out the way to find a supercharger. I'm not going to drive 45 minutes out the way to get to a supercharger and then drive another 45 minutes back to where I was going and then maybe another hour to where I really needed to go. Like, that is not convenient at all. There is not a lot of charging infrastructure, even by me. So it's critical that Tesla continues to build out superchargers because, again, if you leave the house every day with a combustion engine with a full tank of gas, you're not going to need to get gas, right? But it does limit you if you forget to charge your vehicle, for an example. What do you do in that circumstance or situation? Okay? Then you're really limited to the kind of driving you can do on any given day, and that's just not practical all the time. We can also see here for Tesla's Halloween trunk or treat event that they are doing, there is a Cybercab that is kind of decked out in Halloween gear, which is again something Tesla doesn't have to do, but super cool that they actually do that. And obviously it's showing off the vehicle, which is good publicity. Now, Franz, in a new Ride the Lightning podcast on the upcoming Tesla Roadster, says, quote, "The Roadster will be an amazing car that looks at the limits of physics. We've really gotten to a point where we are going to be achieving that standard that we set out." There's a lot of people that speculate about some kind of like a Starship kind of engine, right? A miniature version on the car. Maybe the thing can fly a little bit. There's a lot of different speculation on the Roadster, but from where we see it now, it could take years for the Roadster to actually hit the market. The Las Vegas Metro Police Department has rolled out a bus ad campaign using the Cybertruck to recruit people. The Cybertruck rear wheel decal is lined up perfectly with the Cybertruck, which is pretty cool. And Tesla is doing some paid ads on Google for the new Model 3 and the Model Y Standard. Now, as I talked about before in the video yesterday in option activity on Friday, there was 226 different trades totaling $200.69 million with a positive order value of 84%. On Thursday, the positive order value was 78%. It has been very positive. We've seen these good numbers for Tesla for a while now. And short sellers, again, they're going to be coming under a lot of pressure here soon. On Friday, 92.33 thousand shares were covered by hedge funds and institutions. There is still 77 million shares sold short, totaling $33.06 billion. So even though the short interest does not look high, if you think about it from a share perspective, on Thursday you had 77 million shares worth of volume. The day before, 71.5 million. The day before, 72.5 million. The day before, 79 million. So, I mean, you're looking at like a day's worth of volume for a lot of days in just shares that are sold short. What do you think happens if 20 million shares want to cover in a day? Or 10 million, or a couple days worth of 10 million shares want to cover? That's a lot of buying pressure in Tesla, and I think into the end of the year the case is going to grow stronger and stronger that you just don't want to be short in this company heading into next year. Like, that to me seems obvious. Now let's get into your broader market news today. The Wall Street Journal reports that the US is beginning quiet retreat from Trump-era tariffs. It says the U.S. is gradually stepping back from several of former President Trump's signature tariffs, signaling a shift in trade policy, according to the Wall Street Journal. Donald Trump says that Putin is going to take something in Ukraine. U.S. President Donald Trump said he believes Vladimir Putin is going to take something in Ukraine. He argued that the U.S. can't give, quote, all its weapons to Kyiv, citing national security. Trump reportedly refused to send Tomahawk missile systems during his meeting with Vladimir Zelensky at the White House on Friday. Donald Trump says he is not looking to destroy China. U.S. President Donald Trump told Fox News he is, quote, not looking to destroy China, noting he collected hundreds of billions in tariffs during his first term. Trump said new tariffs now equal 155 to 150% and called Xi Jinping a smart leader open to a deal. He plans to meet the Chinese president in 2 weeks. So, again, it seems like things are moving in the right direction, and these are probably some of the headlines that caused crypto markets to recover a little bit again in the last couple of hours. Donald Trump says, quote unquote, I'm not a king. U.S. President Donald Trump responded to nationwide No Kings protests, saying, I'm not a king. He denied any link between the demonstrations and the ongoing government shutdown. Earlier, Trump shared an AI-generated video on Truth Social showing him flying a plane labeled King Trump. He's trolling. We all know this. Donald Trump on the National Guard says, we'll go to San Francisco next. Trump says, don't forget I can use the Insurrection Act. Donald Trump has also said that he will end subsidies to Colombia. Now, the U.S. is rolling back tariffs on products that cannot be grown, mined, or naturally produced in the United States, per the Wall Street Journal. So again, a little bit of a rollback to some of the Trump tariffs that, some of the scary headlines we've seen in recent days. Now, Israel has launched airstrikes on southern Gaza. Israel carried out 3 airstrikes on Rafah after Hamas allegedly violated the ceasefire, Channel 12 reported Sunday. The strikes followed an attack on an IDF engineering unit. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Israel Katz held talks to assess the situation. The U.S. earlier accused Hamas of planning attacks on civilians, which Hamas denied. The IDF has not commented. South Korea's presidential advisor says, quote, the U.S. and South Korea made concrete progress in most issues during their trade talks. Also in the news, Trump is now focused on a regime change in Venezuela to topple Maduro, per the Financial Times. Now, again, as I said in some of the prior videos as well, the markets are just bearish right now. People are bearish. Sentiment is bearish. Even like positioning is starting to get bearish. The CNN Fear and Greed Index is coming in at 27 in the low side of fear. Market momentum is fear. Stock price strength is neutral. Stock price breadth, extreme fear. Put and call options fear. Market volatility is fear. Safe haven demand in extreme fear. And junk bond demand in extreme fear. The AI Investor Sentiment Survey shadows similar conclusions. Bullish investors at 33.7%, neutral investors at 20.3%, and bearish investors at 46.1%. People are just bearish. Wall Street is just bearish right now. And historically, when Wall Street is bearish, you want to be a buyer, okay? It pays to be a buyer when Wall Street is bearish. The percent of stocks trading above their 50-day moving average hit a high of 74% in early June. It's down to 42.1% today. So that just means like 60% of this market has been in an active downtrend for the last couple of weeks at least. So yeah, could it get worse from here? It could, right? But you're already so washed out from a sentiment perspective. People are already so bearish. The markets are grappling with a lot right now. Bad regional bank loans, China-U.S. trade tensions, and a government shutdown. Like, it could get worse from here, but it seems like things could be about to get better as well. Okay? We were a little overdue for maybe a corrective phase, maybe some consolidation, And now we have gotten just that. Okay. So I think this upcoming week could be a really good one for Tesla, but we'll talk about Tesla's earnings, the economic calendar, all of that in the next video. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.